We unlocked the Copper Dragon this morning and we did a 6-hour stream doing lots of damage in different ways. We've got some ways to do additional damage on him to kind of cheat with some artifacts. Plus we've got some timing stuff we got to talk about. And I made a tier list for all the heroes that will help you out. And if I miss any heroes on this tier list, let me know down below in the comments, please. I do want to add that over those 6 hours, we tried many different save times. We tried to line all of our DPS up for 20 seconds, for 23 seconds, for 30 seconds, because there's a lot going on this boss. There's different times when the boss will take 50% additional damage. There's times when this little wisp in the back will give you 30% additional damage increase. So we were trying all the kind of different times we could to make it so our DPS would do decreased defense, and then the 2 other DPS would follow behind it because we need to support to keep everybody alive. Now, no matter what time I put, 20 seconds, 23 seconds, 30 seconds, the most damage we got was when we turned off the timing completely. When we just did the initial timing to let them hit kind of one after another at around 20 seconds when the increased damage is up. And then after that, I just put it on default. And for some reason, every single one, if we turn the default off and we just let them do their moves, we got the most damage from it. This document is pinned down below in the comments. We're starting a list of all the heroes that can help us do the most damage on this boss, as well as block the debuffs he's going to do or remove those debuffs. So if somebody's not on this list, please tell us in the comments below, because the only way we can remove those 4 buffs the dragon gets every rotation is to get an ultimate increase on one of our allies or decrease the ultimate on the dragon. Doesn't matter if it's the main body, the tail, or the claw, you're still going to take off every time you decrease his ultimate gauge, one of those buffs, one of the 4, or anytime you increase your ultimate gauge, you'll remove one of the 4. Somebody like a Dree, who's a rare, has an ultimate that hits 3 times, and we've got a chance to knock back that ultimate gauge 3 times. If we knock it back 3 times, we're going to remove 3 of those buffs. Makes it pretty easy. But then we've got somebody like Megan on her battle skill that will increase the ultimate of one of our allies. So that's going to remove 1 buff. But if we put the candle on her, this gives us an increase whenever she uses a battle skill. The candle, the artifact does. We get an increase anytime we use our battle skill for her to be able to use her battle skill again earlier. When that happens, she removes 2 because she does it from her battle skill. She'll do it from the candle. The candle and the incense burner are really, really handy. The incense burner, anytime you do your ultimate, you get to do your ultimate a little quicker. It gives you a little increase in your ultimate gauge, which then removes one of the buffs from the boss. So with the candle on somebody, we're definitely going to knock away 2 buffs. With the incense burner on somebody else, we're going to knock away 1 more buff. So then you're going to need somebody else, like one of these people, that gets some kind of increase or decrease on the boss. Then we'll remove all 4 of the buffs. The boss will fall over. We're able to do additional damage to the boss. And then at that point, the boss goes on a 35-second rotation instead of a 30-second rotation, and I will show you all of that. Here are the numbers too. If you want to go ahead and remove all the buffs with somebody like Vakuk, you go to 27 seconds. Set your skill timing to 27 seconds and then 35 seconds, because the boss will then be on a 35-second rotation when it falls over. To block all the buffs, the recharge speed penalty along with the decreased defense goes 17.5 and then 35. And then if you want to shield yourself with Adolphus, for the last 2 hits that the dragon does, do it at 21.5 seconds and you'll protect yourself. You'll absorb that damage for the last 2. I don't have a lot of all rare teams yet. This one is all rares with Furbath. Pretty sweet. Furbath is putting up that decrease attack right when the boss does his ultimate, healing the whole entire team. We've got 2 support in there with healing, and we're doing great damage. 29 million is fantastic because we fight this dragon 6 times every single day, and we want to get 140 million. That's where we get the most rewards. So that means each of those 6 teams needs to pull in 23.4 million each to be able to get that 140 million. And then we've got this team here with Erich. He's the only legendary because we can acquire him for free. But we've got Vakuk in here to remove those debuffs. We've got Adolphus in here to get shields. It's pretty hard right now to make an all rare team, but I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on teams so we can get that 24 million on each of those without having to have all these epics, without having to have those legendaries. Before we go into the boss with its rotation and how it works, the reason why we're doing this is to get 140 million. So we can get more of these rewards to finish out the season better. Plus, we're still getting this reward, which is giving us a lot of individual rewards as we get more and more of these points. And then we're getting a lot of this echo. So try and get as much as you can. It's 6 new teams. You save those teams. You fight this guy every day. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's pretty good. And then this individual reward is placing at the end of the season. This is not a daily reward. There's no way in the world that they're going to give somebody this many rewards for a daily thing. It's at the end of the season, which is only like 10 days away. So whoever has the most points are going to get a lot of master scrolls. And then here we can see that the boss is taking damage. I don't know if the boss goes away at 100%. I wouldn't think so, but I really don't know what happens once we reach 100% overall damage for this. So try to get in here every day and do your battles as quickly as possible, especially if it gets close to 100%. But you guys let me know down below. Does he go away at 100% or do we keep, attacking for however many days is left for the season? We go into fight the boss. Placement, there is better placement than others. The biggest thing is being able to target all the areas that the boss has: the claw, the tail, and the main body. The AI and the way this boss is set up is not good. I don't know if you've noticed yet, but trying to hit all the different pieces and trying to hit the boss and knowing what debuffs are up on the tail and the claw, you can't tell. They don't have an additional bar to see their debuff. So we're just going to focus on what the boss does and how we're going to counteract him and do additional damage to him. When he comes up here, the first time you fight, you're on a 30-second rotation. These are 6 seconds each. They're all AoE abilities. So we don't need a tank. We need 2 support. We need 3 DPSers, 1 DPS to lay down decrease defense if you want to. It's good, right? Do that if you can. Here we're going to take recharge speed penalty. Here we're going to take decrease defense 2, which you definitely want to try to remove, otherwise your team's not going to last that long. And then here we're going to get hit pretty hard. But by the time the boss gets to his ultimate, we want to have removed those 4 buffs that we talked about earlier. And the way we're removing them here on this team is having Megan with the candle. And then this was what's going to happen when the boss has them all removed. He's going to fall over right here, but he's going to pause. This is the 5-second pause. So the first time we fight the boss, it's on a 30-second rotation. But now he's really on a 35-second rotation because you see how he stopped? So if you're going to set it up to where you remove those debuffs or you block those debuffs, you got to do it on a 35-second rotation. And those times are in the document we just looked at. So that's why we're doing 35 seconds to explain it. Every once in a while, you're going to see that he takes 50% additional damage. That's from that wisp in the back. That wisp is doing those 3 abilities that it said it was building up to. It's giving us additional damage. It's doing increased debuff damage to him. And then it's giving us some heals every once in a while. But even with those heals, that little wisp in the back is giving us, we still need 2 support to really keep us alive. Now, I don't have much support on this team. This isn't a good example of it. I've got Megan in here giving us some heals. And then I've got, Varesh giving us some backup heals. We got a lot of AoE. I don't think it's that big of a deal not to have AoE. All my fire team is single target, and I was doing amazing damage on my fire team. My poison team that I showed you did have a lot of AoE. I was getting debuffs up on everybody with Latalis. Sigrid was going in there and hitting everyone. Latalis knocks back the ultimate gauge on his battle skill, so we were able to take away the buffs. Again, we've got Megan here giving us a ultimate increase on somebody, whoever the lowest person is, which will remove one of the buffs the boss gets every 35 rotation. And then we've got the candlestick on her that will remove 1 too. But keep this in mind. We only actually have 24 seconds to remove all 4 buffs after the first rotation. The first rotation, we have 30 seconds to remove all 4. But here's where it comes into play a little bit differently, where we have less time to remove all 4. And I just want you to keep that in mind in case you're working out numbers. You're like, okay, my battle skill's now at a 9.5 seconds. He goes down, but he doesn't get those additional buffs. Those buffs he's got on right now are damage buffs. We're going to see the 4 in just a second, and it should be a different icon. I don't know why they made it the same icon. It's ridiculous. There it is. Now we've got the 4 on, but the 4 didn't go on until this point right here. So we have 6 seconds, 6 seconds, 24 seconds to remove them. So now every rotation after the very first rotation, you don't have 30 seconds to remove it. You don't have 35 seconds. You've got 24 seconds to have somebody get an ultimate increase or reduce the ultimate gauge of the enemy. Again, Adri will try to hit the boss 3 times and lower the ultimate 3 times, which would then knock away 3 of those if we were successful with that. And then if we give somebody else one of those 2 artifacts, or we give the team both of those artifacts, which I have on my teams, and I'll show you in a minute, it's great because each of those artifacts, the one when we do an ultimate, we'll remove one because it gives us a little increase on the ultimate. The battle skill one, every time we do a battle skill, every 10 seconds, we can take away one of the buffs, but we only have 24 seconds. So really you're going to get 2 battle skills because right now the buff's about to go up. There it goes. Now you've got 24 seconds until the boss does its ultimate. So you're going to get probably 2 battle skills in there with the candle. So even if it's just on anybody, then you'll remove 2. And then if you have the other one, the incense on somebody doing their ultimate in between that 24 seconds, you're going to remove a 3rd. So then we just need somebody else in there that can do something and we'll remove that 4th one. That's the best thing to do. This is one of my 2 teams that I saved and I did 54 million with it. This is the same team that I showed you earlier. And in place of this legendary, we had the main traveler and we did 42 million with that team I showed you earlier. And I forgot to mention, come over to my Discord. My Discord has a channel with all the teams, everybody's teams. They're posting there to give you an idea of what kind of damage all these different teams can do because everybody's got a different roster. Come to my Discord. That's down below as well and join us. But you can see here I have the incense burner on Vakuk. So anytime he does his ultimate, we're removing one of those 4 buffs. Then we've got the candle over here on Adolphus. Adolphus battle skill will also remove one because his battle skill gives somebody an ultimate gauge increase. So really with him alone, we can kind of probably remove all 4. As long as he does his battle skill 2 times during that 24 seconds, we can remove all 4 of them, and we might not need the incense burner on Vakuk, but it's okay. This gives him accuracy, and then he does decrease attack on his battle skill, so whenever he does his ultimate, we get a chance to remove one more. It's safe to have the backup. There's nothing wrong with that. Plus, over here, this guy on his ultimate, he gets an ultimate increase whenever he crits with his ultimate, I think is what it was. Whenever he has wild, he gets an ultimate increase. So anytime he procs that, we've got another chance to remove a buff. Now, you don't have to have as many as I have in this team. I'm just giving you an idea of how to make sure that you remove all those buffs. And again, they're not buffs. They're not even categorized as buffs. Somebody like a rare Zadie, he's a rare hero that can remove a buff if there's a buff up. And I tested this already. If there's a buff available, he'll remove that buff. If there's no buff on the enemy, he'll actually knock back the ultimate gauge. So I went in there, I gave him a whole bunch of accuracy. We went up against this boss. He had those buffs on. They're not really buffs. He did his attack, and what did he do? He knocked back the ultimate gauge. Obviously, he didn't remove any of those because we can't remove them, we can't block them. But since they're not actually categorized as buffs, Zadie came in there and knocked back the ultimate gauge by 25%, which is great for us. Plus, he then removed one of those 4. So this is a good hero to put in there if you need somebody to, a rare option. I think I covered all the bases. Look back over here, look at these teams, ask me some questions, come join us on Discord. If you're trying to remove or block the buffs, which is really good to do, look at these heroes down here below. If you have somebody that you're using that works out really well for this boss, let us know down below. Not somebody who does a lot of damage, somebody who does some support, somebody that keeps our team alive, that can remove these buffs, block these buffs, get an ultimate increase, ways that we can make sure we get all those 4 charges that he has off of him, and we can do more damage and last longer. That's what I'm interested in. Again, this team over here I think is a really good team. This team is pretty good too with the main character. We just got Latalis in here and a couple other epics. We're going to work on it. We're going to get better teams, but you guys let me know your teams over in my Discord. Everybody's posting pictures of all of it. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Appreciate your time. I will see you all in a video soon.